I barely made it. Actually, I didn't make it. I'm late. I'm 3 minutes late. And yes, I have a nail file in my hand. It's not a knife or a stiletto or even a music baton. It is a nail file because I just chipped a nail. And I have to say, if it seems like this is not my top priority right now, I admit I'm going for a mani-pedi this afternoon. Yeah, yeah. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And so let's talk about that for a minute. Not mani-pedis specifically, but how do you get to get special treats like a mani-pedi? Now, you may be one of those fortunate people who always get their mani-pedis, who that's just part of their routine. I'm not one of those people. If I usually handle my hands by myself, but they're a mess this time. Excuse me. I do like a professional pedicure, and I try to get one every 2 weeks in the summer and the warm months, which is 8 or 9 months of the year here. I'm in Texas, if you didn't know. And hi, I'm Mojo Medium, aka Susan Morrow Johnson. Welcome to the Make It So show, where we talk about how you create what you actually want in your life and stop settling for the same old dookie, right? Find me on the web at mojomedium.com. And I really want to encourage you to join Make Magic with Mojo, which is the full manifestation course. It's got, I think we are over 20 tutorial videos right now and a bunch of downloads and worksheets and stuff like that. So it's a fantastic program. I've got it at a little bit of a discount right now. So go on to get it right in a minute. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Go on to mojomedium.com and find that program. It's right there. Okay, if you can't find it, you let me know. You can tell me right here on this video. You can send me an email, mojomedium@gmail.com. You can message me here on Facebook, whatever works for you. Okay, so let's talk about how you get little treats like that. And yes, by the way, I admit it, I'm a 56-year-old woman wearing a button of Captain Jack Sparrow. It's true. It's part of my jewelry today. I'm just that kind of whimsical, vapid little star. I'm fan of stars, right? Okay. You can tell I'm a little discombobulated just for running late. I don't like to run late. Do you like to run late? I don't like to run late. Let's talk about how you get little treats in your life. Self-care treats like mani-pedis, maybe bigger treats like, new shoes or or a date with the person you've really been hoping to go out on a date with. Here's the thing. We always talk about leaving the how up to the universe, where you just go, man, I wish I could get a pedicure, and stop right there and don't say, but I can't afford it right now. Man, I wish I could get a pedicure, period. Send that out to the universe, right? Cast your bread upon the waters. And then, lo and behold, you get a $40 bonus. Or if you wait tables or work in service, you get a tip, an extra tip that you weren't counting on. Or maybe you find $40 or $20. Whatever that how is doesn't really matter. What I want to talk about is when the how happens and you forget that it's meeting the wish that you wanted. Okay. Excuse me. Let me give you a little bit bigger example. Way back in the 90s, before I knew anything about law of attraction. In fact, it was 1991. I didn't know anything about law of attraction. I didn't know that I was a psychic medium. I didn't know that I was a magician like you, that we all are, that's what we're here to do, is create what we want, right? And I had this great little Ford Escort station wagon. We had bought it. My husband, my late husband, but he was alive then, he and I had bought it in 1987 before, while I was pregnant with our first child. And it was a great little car, and I loved it. And at some point over those years, I guess around the time I was pregnant with our second child, we'd paid off the car. Yay! And that was nice. But I had some engine trouble. And I found out, I took it to the mechanic, and they said, well, we've cleaned it up the best we can, but really there's like gunk inside the motor, and that's not work that we do, and it's really not worth taking it apart and doing it. And we don't know how many miles you've got left on this engine. Whoa. Now, excuse me, keep in mind, I didn't know anything about law of attraction or manifestation at that time. Conscious creation, you could call it. But I knew that I was going to need a new car eventually. And excuse me, I was about to have another baby, and I was going to be off work for a while, and we really didn't have any business buying a new car. So we just, my husband and I just went, well, we'll drive it until we can't. Well, before the engine burned up, which it eventually did, and I'll get to that in a minute, I was driving in College Station, which is where we had lived in Bryan, which is right next door to College Station. None of this means anything if you're not a Texan. Let's just say I was in our hometown. We had just moved back to Austin, but I was over there for a baby shower. And I was by myself driving the little Ford Escort wagon. And I went around a corner, and long story short, got T-boned. Spun me around. I'm getting out of the car like, and I'm a big fainter. I have like a really weak vagal nerve. And so I'm just like, oh. And this young woman came in, and I was a young woman too. I was 28. And so this young woman came and got me. She's like, come sit down. Are you okay? Are you okay? I was like, yeah, I think so. And I was just like dazed, and I looked at her and I said, who hit me? And she said, I did. And I went, oh my gosh, are you all right? Because, I'm in mom mode immediately. She was a college student. Are you all right? Yes, I'm okay. I'm sorry I hit you. Okay. Let's go on, cut to the chase. My car was barely drivable. She had hit me just about square on the post between the two doors on the side. So we lashed those doors together, and I limped back to Austin in this car. And so we drove it over to the State Farm office, the insurance office, so that a claims adjuster could inspect it and determine whether it was totaled or not. So the insurance company took a long time to decide, and I had a rental for 30 days. That was part of my insurance. But 30 days were up, and I went over there, and let's see, what was it? I went and picked up the car. That's what it was. I went and picked up the car. And as I was driving it home, black smoke started pouring out of the engine. So I called up the insurance company. I said, you need to settle this. Black smoke's pouring out of the engine. I don't know what happened to it in this wreck, but this is clearly a total. The frame is bent. The engine is smoking. You need to settle this claim. So they did. They totaled my car, towed it away, and we had a nice down payment for our next car. Now, was that fun? No, none of it was fun. And at the time, being that I didn't know anything about law of attraction, I was just kind of like, why, God, why? Except, fortunately, I wasn't working, right? We had a brand new baby. I wasn't working. And so I was able to kind of take care of all these details. And then when we got the money for the settlement, my husband decided we needed to go buy a new car. And I really didn't want to buy a new car, but he did. And he was of the mind that a car payment is just sort of part of life, that you're always going to have a car payment. And with this down payment we had, we could get our car payments pretty low if we'd finance it for details, right? Anyway, I got a new car. Got a brand new car because I'd been in a wreck before my engine burned up. You see how that worked out nicely? If it hadn't happened, if the wreck had not happened, and I wasn't hurt, and the other young lady wasn't hurt, it was her fault, so her insurance paid for it. If that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have been able to get a new car when the engine burned up. Kind of cool, huh? Yeah. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about with manifestation. And I always say, leave the how up to the universe. Just say what you want to feel about it, how you would like to have things improved. And sometimes the how comes in ways that are not all that great. Sometimes they're kind of painful, I started the Make It So show talking about going to get a mani-pedi, right? Well, my father just died, and he didn't leave a lot. There's not going to be like a huge estate to divvy up between the heirs. I'm not going to get hundreds of thousands of dollars. That would have been nice, but that's not the kind of family I come from, and that's okay. But I'll get a little bit. I'll get a little bit, and it's enough for me to get a mani pedi today. And when it's all, when the dust settles and it's all said and done, maybe I'll have enough for, I don't know, a new rug in the living room or something, or maybe pay off my car. Pay off my car, that would be great. So, if I had in mind I want to pay off my car, well, inheriting some money is a way that can happen. The question is, can you keep the how from being a difficult how? And I believe the answer is no, but you know how I love to say but. My favorite answer is yes, but in this case, no, but. You can't stop the how from being the how. Sometimes the universe will create a how that is a happy how, and that depends on you working on things with your most cheerful sense of worthiness, right? But when a bad how happens, be sure to notice that it's a how. Be sure to notice that. I don't even want to call it a silver lining because, as my daughter famously said recently, yeah, that silver lining is just tinfoil. So the, don't look at it as silver lining, but look at it as a blessing that came along with the difficult how. Okay. I had a car wreck. That was a pain. It was upsetting. It was scary. It was a pain to deal with the aftermath, getting the, yes, Miss Sue, I certainly can pray for your health. Um, so I was able to get a new car, even though I had to go through all this crap, right? So I had a big blessing come out of that. My father died, and of course, there are many blessings to come out of that, along with the tremendous sorrow, grief, and loss that will be with me forever. But the fact that I might get to pay off my car, that's a blessing. It's a big blessing. It's an answer to a big prayer, right? A big want. Like, hey, I'd really like to have no car payment. That would help my husband retire when he wants to retire. If I can pay off my car before it's time for him to retire, that'll just make it much better for both of us. And maybe he can retire a little sooner because I can pay off my car. So that's a big blessing. The fact that it may come from my father's death is not a very cheerful how, but I can find the blessing in it. I hope that makes sense. All right, 13 minutes. You've got this lesson, right? You've got it. Okay, rock and roll. I'm off to get a petty. And so remember, as you go through your day today, remember that you are worthy always, in all ways.